So, but the intent, if you have legislation, is to add, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
Add to and not just try to define
Yeah.
a subject, and I get the deal, that's what we're trying to do. I think we all agree. If there's violation, there's a vehicle to address that today. If something like the rights, whoever can violate, that they have a vehicle or an avenue or a path to seek relief. I'm interested in what condition does this need in the Constitution that would add to what we have today. I don't know if that makes sense. Because to me, I'm looking while we're adding more. If we're just trying to define what's in there, that's one thing. If we're really adding substantive to it, I mean, it's going to make right or wrong. And I'm interested in what is that wrong? How are you trying to make it right today by adding that?
That's a very interesting question, and it sort of illuminates that constitutional amendments can't really be precisely predicted in terms of their impact on policy. So when we start talking about policy, and we find it in your question, right, Senator? When we start talking about policy, it makes a lot more sense to pass statutes that affect policy. And I think that, as I started off by saying, it's very important that we have policies that guarantee that men and women are going to be treated equally and fairly with respect to sex and race and all these other individual characteristics. And if we have a constitutional amendment that says we're going to have equal rights for everybody, it's just very difficult to determine how courts are going to understand equality, particularly, and I'll say one more thing. If you're a pro-life legislator, then you may want to be somewhat skeptical or somewhat concerned about how courts are going to understand equality in the context of abortion and taxpayer-funded abortion. And if you're a pro-choice legislator, then you might be very eager to give the courts one more reason to say that abortion and abortion rights and taxpayer-funded abortion falls generally under the idea of equality.
Senator Pearson. Thank you, Mr. Chair. President Greenburg, just I think over 2 weeks ago, you were in here testifying for a resolution that we were bringing out about voter ID, and you said very reverse of what you're saying right now. But
I think that that's true.
Well, you saying this could happen, that could happen, but on that you were saying why would it happen because we take care of that. Now you're saying this could happen, that could happen on this about the abortions and all this. So I'm getting the idea that you're whichever side you're on, if you're a paid attorney or what you got there.
Well, Senator, I suppose I admit it. I'm an attorney, Senator. It's perhaps true that I'm not the only person in this room who's said things to advance their case, Senator. But I hope that's sort of understood.
Run that back to.
Yeah.
Would you say that again?
Yeah, it's perhaps true that I'm not the only person in this room who argues in favor of the case. Yes, Senator.
Okay.
But my point, my larger point is that when you have code, when you have legislation, the effects of that are much more cabin and much easier to predict. And so I'm actually a lot more comfortable about making predictions about individual pieces of code because, for one reason, the